Alright guys, so I'm going to be doing a review of a comic that was sent to me by my good friend Chris, aka the Mount Vernon Kid, and that is Savage Sasquanaut. So Savage Sasquanaut, trying to say that's 5 times fast, is a book that was sent to me because of helping to fund it on GoFundMe. This is the first big volume trade. And yeah, this is created by Wes Hartman with Gabe Santos and McLean McGuire. Literally, the dude had 2 last names. I've seen people with 2 first names, never with 2 last names. So, right off the bat, you can clearly see that this comic does not take itself seriously. This is a comic that in no way, shape, or form is going to take itself seriously. In any way, shape, or form. There is no way, on any way, that this comic is going to take itself seriously. In no way, shape, or form. So what is Savage Sasquanaut? So Savage Sasquanaut is about a story set during the space race where NASA kidnapped Bigfoot and launched him into space like one of the test monkeys, and he got captured by an alien race and put on a prison ship. He breaks out, takes the ship, and him and the crew of both guards and inmates all work together and basically go around doing shenanigans while avoiding the evil Empress who wants them dead. This is legit, like, complete insanity. If you it's kind of like, the best way to describe it is like this has elements of like Final Space and Star Trek and a little bit of Lobo too, like kind of like a little bit of Lobo as well. This is actually a lot of fun. This comic clearly, like I said, it's a comic about Bigfoot in space. It's not really hard. It's not going to take itself seriously. There's a lot of love that puts into this because this comic knows what it is and goes on its merry way. That's really what I can say, is that this comic just goes on its merry way, does not care what you think of it, and just is. Like, it just goes. It's really like, that's the only way to describe it, is it just goes. That's really it. So the story does kind of collect the first, I think, 5-6 issues. Could be wrong, but this more or less follows Bigfoot, who can talk. It's not like it's more like, yeah, Bigfoot can talk, he can articulate, and I couldn't help but think of, like, when I was imagining a voice for Bigfoot, I couldn't help but think Brad Garrett, the voice actor, Brad Garrett, who, not Brad Garrett, no, it is Brad Garrett, yeah, Brad Garrett, who most of you guys would know from Everybody Loves Raymond. He also did the voice of Lobo in the DC animated shows. And I kind of imagined his voice for Bigfoot, really. Like, that was the voice I kind of imagined for Bigfoot, because he's kind of a jerk, but also he cares about people. It's more of a story arc about him, because his whole thing is, I want to get back home, there's a bump on a log I want to sit back on. But as the story continues, he discovers that there's more to his life than anything else, and he wants to go out and explore. He wants to see and do things. And yeah, the characters are all really fun. Like Thrax, who is like Bigfoot's buddy. He's also looking for a fight everywhere he goes. There's also Brenner, who is part of this race called the Aurelians, who are run by imagine if Chloe from Ladybug was the Empress and had 4 arms. That's the best way to describe the Empress. She is Brenner and his crew are hijacked into this whole thing and are just kind of like dragged along for this whole mess. There is a lot that goes on. Like, it's very much, there's episodic, but it's also runs through a lot as well. I really do love the characters in here and like the character dichotomy, because it's not like, Bigfoot is like this very nice. He's not nice, but he is learning along the way. Like, he is learning to care about people. He's learning, more about himself. There's a lot that goes into this story. I really do like that. I really do like that this comic really like makes the protagonist kind of learn from himself. This also really has a lot of Planet Hulk vibes too, where I would not be shocked if Hartman did take a lot of inspiration from Planet Hulk along the way. This clearly does have a lot of build-up. This is the first volume, whereas a lot of first volume books for independent books I've read so far, do kind of feel like they can be like, yeah, I can read it and it's final. Like, if they don't get a second volume, at least this way they can feel like it's a complete story. Here, Hartman and everyone was like, yeah, we know what we want to do. We know what we want to get, and we're hoping to get your attention with this. And trust me, you got my attention with it. There is a lot of tropes in here where I do see a lot of the characters. I do see a lot of, like, Star Trek and, even, like, some of the Shi'ar as well. Like, there is you can clearly see a lot of the inspirations for that. And that's not a bad thing. I just think, like, it adds to that. And also, I couldn't help but think of, Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys. You guys remember that show from the 90s? Y'all remember, Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys? I got a bit of a vibe of that in here too. Yeah, this is just fun. Like, that's the best way to describe Savage Sasquanaut. It's just fucking fun. Shut your brain off and just enjoy the ride. That's all I can really say is enjoy the ride because it's fucking nuts. That's really all I can say about it. So yeah. So there you go, guys. Quick review, but this was a lot of fun. Chris, thank you so much for sending me this book. I don't want to spoil a lot about this book because I feel like this is something you guys need to read for yourselves. Like, this is something that definitely needs to be read and experienced for yourselves. I highly recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun. I definitely think there is a lot of potential for future volumes, and I'm really excited for it, to see more of it. So you guys tell me in the comments below if you've read Savage Sasquanaut, what'd you guys think of it? And once again, hope you all enjoyed this. Chris, thank you once again for this book. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.